Math 2, 9.3, Unit 9, Lesson 3, multiplying polynomials continued. We're going to continue with what we did yesterday with a few different types of problems. All right. Simplify, and I'm going to put write in standard form. Okay, number 1. This first one is going to be review from last lesson, 9.2. All right, if I have something like this, x plus 5 and then 3x minus 2. Now, I did tell you guys I was going to continue doing double distribution, which I will continue to do. But for those of you that wanted to rewrite it, you could, or wanted to do the FOIL and do it piece by piece, you could. And there is one other method I did forget to show you yesterday that I will show you in just a bit. Okay, let's go ahead and FOIL first. What do I distribute first? What is it? The x. And see, I did call it FOIL. I will do that every now and then, but it is double distribution. All right, so x times 3x is what? X, louder? 3x to the second. Do you guys agree you multiply the coefficients and add the exponents? All right, x times negative 2, 1x times negative 2 is negative what? 2x. All right, now that I've distributed the x to everything I could, what's the next thing I distribute? The positive 5 to the 3x and the negative 2, and there's nothing else to distribute it to. 3x. And 5 times negative 2. And then what do we do at this point? Combine like terms is correct. So I have a like term here and a like term here. So 3x squared. What is negative 2x plus 15x? Is that positive or negative? Positive what? 13x minus 10. And is that in standard form? Okay. That is review from yesterday. Any questions on that? No questions? All right. So let me show you the other method that I forgot to show you guys yesterday. Some people call it the box method. Some people call it, I call it the window method. Some kids like this because it helps them keep things organized and they don't get messed up with what goes where. So here's how you would do it. I just write the first one on the top, x and positive 5, and then 3x and a negative 2. Positive x, positive 5, positive 3x, negative 2. Do you guys see how that worked? So again, I put the x and the positive 5 at the top, and then on the side I put the 3x and the negative 2. And then you go through and multiply. That first box is 3x times x. What is 3x times x? 3x what? Squared. And then in that box right there you do 3x times 5 because everything else is covered. What's 3x times 5? What is it? 15x. And then in this box you do these two, the x and the negative 2. What does that multiply to? Negative 2x. And in the last box you multiply 5 and negative 2. What does that give you? And then you look through here. Do you agree these are the only like terms? So that gives me 3x squared. What's 15 plus negative 2? Plus 13x minus 10. Did we get the same answer? Does anybody feel like they like this way? No one? And that's fine. You do not have to use it. Again, it's optional. It's up to you on which method of the many that I've shown you, which one you want to use. Questions before I move on? All right. Number 2. 4 parentheses y minus 6 parentheses y plus 5. Okay, how is this different? Can anybody, well, it looks the same, But how is it different from what we did yesterday? A volunteer raise their hand and tell us how it is different. No one knows? Yes. Be more specific. Distribute what? Okay, we have this 4 to distribute that we did not have yesterday. Do you agree? Would you agree if I cover the 4, that looks like what we did yesterday? Yes or no? So that's what I'm going to have you do. Ignore the 4 for now. Do not distribute it first. You can, but oftentimes kids mess it up and they do it to too many parts. So just cover the 4 and do your double distribution. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to go ahead and double distribute now, ignoring the 4. Nathaniel, thank you. All right, do you guys agree it's y squared minus 5y when I distribute the y? And there is an error. Where is it? Louder. Positive. Should this be a plus 5? All right, y squared, I'm going to cover that again. Do you guys agree it's y squared plus 5y, yes or no? All right, my next piece, I'm distributing a positive or a negative 6? A negative, so that's negative 6y and negative 30. Did you guys get that? All right, still ignore the 4 and combine like terms on the inside. All right, so what does that give me? Y squared minus what? Y. Minus y, good job, and then minus 30 close parentheses. Now, does everyone agree everything I've done so far is review from yesterday? Okay, anyone, any guesses of what we do at the very last step? Distribute what? The 4. And that is really it. You just distribute, double distribute like we did initially, and then after you've done that and combined your like terms, you distribute the 4. 4y squared minus 4y minus what? 120. Okay. Really hard? Is it that hard? No. What's the biggest mistake kids make here? They ignore the 4 like I told them to, and then they get this far, and what do they forget to do? They forget to distribute the 4. I can see the 4 in their work when I look at your work when I'm grading your test, but in the test answer, they give me this because they forgot to distribute the 4. Yes? Is it easier just to distribute first? It all depends on who you ask. If you distribute it first, tell me what you would do. Distribute it, what would you get? Times. Yes, that would work. Okay. He said, can you distribute first? Yes, as long as you know a few things. One, you only distribute it to the first one, not to both. That is one mistake kids make. They put the 4 to everything, and it does not go to everything, just one. I pick the first, it's easiest. And then do your double distribution. So if you can handle that and not get confused with putting the 4 everywhere, go for it. The only thing with that one, Abraham, is that you're going to have bigger numbers to double distribute, which isn't a problem, but there will be bigger numbers in there. All right. Questions? Yes.
How come right before you distribute the 4, you can't minus the y from the y squared?
Right here?
No, the one below that. It's y squared minus
right
y.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay. Good question. I'm glad she asked that because I often will have kids on the test do a 4y squared minus 4y minus 120, and they'll combine those like terms. Can anybody tell me why these are not like terms?
Because they're the 2.
There's a 2 and this is a 1. Can you multiply non-like terms together? Can you add non-like terms together? No. I cannot. If it was 4y squared plus 7y squared, I can add them together. But because that's a squared and that's a 1 power, there is no combining them. That's as far as you can go. Please remember that, because again, I often have kids like mush everything together. They'll even put the 10 in there. They'll do 3 plus 13 minus 10 and just write it as one single term. You cannot do that. They are not like terms. Make sense? I'm really glad you asked. Okay. Questions on number 2 before we move on? Okay. Number 3. Parentheses, 3x squared plus 2x plus 4, close parentheses, 4x minus 5. All right, does this one look different? Okay, there's an extra term. This one was a binomial and a binomial, and that's all we've really been doing, binomial with a binomial. What is this one here? A trinomial with a binomial. Do you see that? Does that change things? A little. Instead of calling it double distribution, what would I call it? Triple distribution, because I'm going to distribute the 3x squared, then the 2x, and then the 4. Did everybody hear that? Now, let's go ahead and do that, then I'll show you again other ways that you can rearrange it if you choose to. Okay, I'm going to first distribute what? 3x squared. There and there. And it's going to end up pretty long, so I'm going to have to just write a smidge bit smaller and try to space it out. Okay, what's 3x squared times 4x? Multiply the coefficients and add the exponents. What does that give us? 12x to the third. Did I hear that correctly? Okay. And then 3x squared times negative 5 is what? 3x squared times negative 5 is negative, thank you, negative 15x squared. Am I done distributing the 3x squared? Yes? Faith, can you tell me what to distribute next? The 2x to the 4x and to the negative 5. Do we all agree? Yes? All right. Diego, can you tell me what that would give you? Here, 2x times 4x, they're both positive. What? Plus 8x squared. Good, you remember to add the exponents. And then here, 2x times negative 5? Negative 10x. Typically, that's where we would be done. Serenity, what do I still have to do? Louder? We will combine like terms, just not yet. There's one more thing to distribute. What do I still have to distribute? The 4. So I'm going to distribute there and there. That gives me what? Can you tell me, Serenity? Plus 16x minus 20. Oh, that was a bit long. Okay, now we're going to do what she said and combine like terms. And we also want to write it in standard form. So in standard form, what's going to come first? The cube, the squared, the x, or the constant? Cubed. Does this cubed have any like terms? No, so it's just going to stay 12x cubed. Okay, that one's gone. What's going to come next? The x squared's the x or the constant? And does the x squared have a like term? Okay, negative 15 plus 8. Can you guys calculate that? Negative 15 plus 8 is negative what? 7x squared. Remember, when you're combining like terms, your exponents do not change. Okay, negative 10x and positive 16x is plus what? Plus what? 6x, no exponent change, and then minus 20 at the end, and that there is your beautiful answer. Okay, 2 things about this problem. If you wanted to use the box method or the window method, and some people like using it on this one because it's a little easier to organize all the numbers. 3x squared, positive 2x, positive 4, 4x, and negative 5. And you would just go through and multiply and then combine your like terms. Does anybody want to see the rest of this way, or you're okay on your own? No one wants to see it? We're good? Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about is this right here. I'm going to rewrite it. 3x squared plus 2x plus 4 times 4x minus 5. What did we call this when we distributed everything? Double distribution or triple? Triple. If you wanted to, or if you ever come across it this way, is this the same thing? Are these two the same thing? Yes, because multiplication is commutative. 5 times 3 is still 3 times 5. Do we all agree? All right. Some people like this way because honestly, it's the same thing either way. You're going to end up with the same number of terms, combining your like terms, but they'd rather distribute a double distribution to 3 things than a triple to 2, and it's totally up to you. So would this be called back to a double distribution? Yes, you're distributing 2 things, but you're distributing it to how many terms? To 3. Does anybody feel like they would rather do it this way? Does it matter? And it technically does not matter. All right, questions, because this really is the new stuff right here. Questions on the new type of problem. Okay, can I move on? All right, number 4. Parentheses, 2x plus 3, close parentheses, times the quantity of x minus 4 times the quantity of x minus 7. Oof, does that look like a harder type of problem? How many, this is one whole term, how many factors are in this one term? In this problem, factors are held together by the parentheses. How many factors do I have? 3. X by itself is not a factor. 2x plus 3 is a factor. X minus 4 is a factor. X minus 7 is a factor. X by itself is not a factor. Unless, don't write this down, if there was an X out there, then X would be a factor. All right. Any thoughts on this one? No thoughts? No one knows what to do on this one? No? Okay, I will tell you this. Pick 2, it doesn't matter which 2. You can do the first 2, the last 2, the first and the last. I find it easier to just do the first 2 and do your double distribution. So can you guys do that right now? Look at just the first 2 and do your double distribution. So I'm going to cover that one. And you would do it using any one of the methods that I've shown you, the window method, the FOIL method, the rewrite method, or just the standard double distribution, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to call on Caitlin. Caitlin, can you tell me what you get when you distribute just the 2x? Keep going. Good job. All right. And Rebecca, can you tell us what we would distribute next? The 3. And can you tell me what you get when you distribute just the 3?
3x minus 12.
Good. Does everyone agree with her? Yes? All right. What's our next step? Carrie, can you tell me what I'm going to do right here? Combine the like terms. Do you guys all agree with that? All right, so 2x squared is staying. What's negative 8x plus 3x? I'm asking everyone in class. Negative 5x minus 12. Any more simplifying that I can do? Can I add any more terms together? None of these are like terms. They're in standard form. Typically, I would be done, but what's still there on the paper that I've ignored so far? The x minus 7 did not disappear. Unfortunately, it is still there. Now, does this look like a problem we just did earlier? Does it look like This one right here. Not the same numbers, but does it look similar? A trinomial times a binomial. A trinomial times a binomial. If you leave it in this form and you do not flip it around, is this double distribution or triple distribution? Triple. If you put the x minus 7 first, you could call it double. It's still going to be the same thing either way. Are you guys okay if I leave it like this? Yes? All right, Max, tell us the first thing we're going to distribute. And can you tell me what you get when you distribute the 2x squared?
2x
Add your exponents
to the third,
to the third. Okay, keep going.
14x to the second.
Good. All right. And I will call on Tyler. What's the next thing that we distribute?
The 12 and 7.
Not the 12 yet. What do we distribute next? I just did the first one. So the next thing I distribute is the negative.
Negative 14x squared.
Oh, you're giving me what it is? Okay. One step back. Do you agree that negative 5 is the next thing that I distribute? Okay. So that's what I was asking. What do we distribute next? The negative 5. All right. Do you guys all agree? And I'll ask everyone, what's negative 5x times 1x? Negative 5x squared. What's negative 5x times negative 7?
30.
Positive or negative? Positive 30x. Do we agree? Sorry, 35. It is. Thank you. And I just heard it and didn't even think about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. And I'm going to call on Emily. What's the last thing to distribute? The negative what? 12. Good. Can you tell me what you get when you distribute the negative 12? Plus, and then 12 times 7. What do we get? 84. Okay. Is that everything to distribute? Yes. Noah Soda, can you tell us what we're going to do next?
Combine like terms.
Good job. Combine like terms and standard form. 2x cubed is first. Does the x cubed have any like terms? No? 2x cubed. Desi, can you tell us what we would write next? What terms we would combine? Good. Those are like terms, but if I'm putting it in standard form, what would I want to put next? Good. And if you did those two first, that's fine. Just at the end, make sure it's in standard form. Okay, what do we get when we combine these two terms? Negative what? Desi, can you go ahead and give it to me? The negative 14 and the negative 5 combined to be negative. Thank you. And good job. X squared. You do not add the exponents anymore because we're not multiplying, we're adding like terms. Okay. Cole, what's the next thing we combine?
35x and 1x, or negative 1x.
And 35 minus 12 is what?
23.
Positive?
Yeah.
All right. And does the 84 have a like term? Nope. So plus 84. Is it in standard form? Third power, second power, first power, no power. Yes. And is it as far as we can go? Are there any more like terms I can combine? Nope. This is your final answer. Now, I went kind of slow. Was anybody faster than me, worked it out ahead of time, and got the same answer? Good, good, good. All right. Any questions? Does anybody like the window method for this type of problem here? No? You're okay doing it this way? All right. And FOIL method, you wouldn't call this FOIL method. Some kids still do because you're doing the same stuff, but it's no longer first, outer, inner, last. All right. Go ahead and take out your worksheets and get to work.